Holy shit. What's up, everybody? Today we are talking about Avengers Infinity War. Went to see it last night around 10, got out 1 in the morning, came home, fell asleep. It's now about 8 in the morning, and I'm fully awake. We're just gonna run through this movie. We're gonna talk about this movie because Jesus Christ, it is one heck of a ride to go see this. So the movie starts right where Ragnarok left off. They're on Thor's ship, Thanos and the Black Order. I think that's what they're called, Children of Thanos. Um, and they've killed everyone. They've killed all the Asgardians. Heimdall, Loki, and Thor are still alive. Thor's just laying at Thanos' feet, and he's talking to Loki, or the Black Order's talking to Loki, and some stuff happens. I'm not going to go in full detail because if you want full detail, go see the movie. It's a great movie. Go check it out. But what happens is Loki gives up the Tesseract because Thanos threatens to kill Thor. But before he does that, it's pretty funny. I think Thanos says, "I have an army," or something. I don't know exactly what he said, but Loki says, "We have a Hulk," which is what Iron Man said in the first Avengers, and the Hulk comes out of nowhere and starts just fucking pounding into Thanos. And he's not doing anything to him. Thanos is just taking the hits like it's nothing, and Hulk's holding him against a wall, and Thanos just grabs both the Hulk's arms, and I think he headbutts him, but he beats the Hulk. He just beats him down. And I think that traumatizes the Hulk because you don't see the Hulk the rest of the movie. This scene right here, this is fake. They are not running with all these armies. The Hulk does not show up in Wakanda at all. It's what they did with Thor Ragnarok. They put out stuff that wasn't in the movie, like how when he lands on the bridge, he still has two eyes. That's another thing. In this movie, Rocket Raccoon gives Thor a robotic eye, so he doesn't have the eye patch. He takes it off, puts an eye in. So I'm okay with that. I didn't really like the eye patch in the first place. I thought that made him look he's going down Odin's path. But after he beats the Hulk, Heimdall, who's still alive, uses his power to bridge the Bifrost. He sends the Hulk to Earth, and the Hulk crashes into the Sanctuary, Doctor Strange's place, and turns into Bruce Banner and says Thanos is coming. But back on Loki's ship, or the Asgardian ship, Thanos kills Heimdall. So about 5 minutes into this movie, Thanos kills Heimdall. Then it turns on Loki's talking. He pledges allegiance. He tries to stab Thanos in the neck. Thanos grabs him by the neck, and he snaps Loki's neck. So 5 to 10 minutes into this movie, Thanos has killed Loki and Heimdall and beaten the Hulk down and killed all the Asgardians. From there, it goes to Earth. Pretty sure it goes to Earth. Yeah, it goes to Earth, and Pepper and Tony are running around in the park talking about having a kid, or Tony's talking about having a kid, a dream. He's talking about how if you have to go pee in your dream, and then you wake up, you have to go pee. And he says he had a dream about having a kid, and he's using the pee theory. I call it the pee theory. But Doctor Strange shows up, and he says, "I need you to come with me." And he's like, "Who are you?" He doesn't believe in magic, he believes in science, and he says, some kind of power trick, something like that. And then Bruce walks through the portal, and he says it's important. They bro hug it out, science bros for life. They go through the portal, and it's just explaining. Wong explains the Infinity Stones, which is pretty nice. From there, the Black Order shows up on Earth, and it's the big guy. I don't know their names. I know I probably should, but I'm really bad with names. It's the big guy and this other dude who has pretty much the Force. He just lifts object into the... Is there a picture of them? Real quick, I'll try to find one. Infinity War. Well, there we go. Black Order. Yeah, it's this guy right here, and oh, here we go. It's this. That's really blurry. Pixelate, please. It's this guy right here and this guy. They show up in New York to get the Time Stone from Doctor Strange, and they fight it out. Pretty funny moment actually is he goes, Iron Man looks at Bruce Banner and he says, "You want a piece of this?" And he goes, "No, not really, but when do I ever get what I want?" And he tries turning into the Hulk, and the Hulk won't come out. The Hulk screams no. So I think the Hulk's never really been beaten. Yeah, he's been quote unquote beaten by Thor, but not that bad. So I think it kind of traumatized him a little, and he's like, yeah, I think the Hulk is basically a child. So like in Avengers, I don't really know how they went from Avengers 1 and 2 to Ragnarok Hulk. It kind of seemed backwards a bit, but I still like um, Ragnarok Hulk. But anyway, he doesn't want to come out, so Iron Man has to fight this dude right here. And he does do pretty well. He fends himself off. He's got the new suit. It says that it's nanotech, and it's got some pretty cool upgrades. And then Doctor Strange and Wong are fighting this guy, and they actually get beaten. Doctor Spider-Man shows up to help Iron Man with this guy, and the cape's pretty funny too. It's flying Doctor Strange around, and it hits Iron Man his hand away. Yeah, I'm glad that they added the cape in here as like it does its own thing sometimes, not just it's on Doctor Strange. But Spider-Man shows up to help Iron Man beat this guy, and they don't. Wong sends him to the Arctic, I think, the middle of nowhere. Um, and then Spider-Man's on the ship. He tells him to go. Iron Man tells him to go save the wizard. That's what he calls them. He keeps calling them wizards. But Spider-Man goes. He ends up on the ship, and it's in the atmosphere. And Tony deploys the Iron Spider-Man suit, and it hooks on to Spider-Man. And Tony actually tries to get him to go back to Earth. He pulls a parachute on his suit, but he hangs on to the spaceship. So they're up in space. Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Spider-Man are in space. And then I believe it cuts to Vision. Yeah, it goes back to Earth, and Wong asks Bruce what he's gonna do. I'm gonna make a phone call, and he calls Cap. And then it cuts to Vision and Scarlet Witch, and he looks human. It's because of the stone. He's evolving. He learns from it. And then these two right here show up to get the stone from Vision, and they actually kick Scarlet Witch and Vision's ass basically, until Cap, Falcon, and Black Widow, I was blanking on her name for a second, show up, and they win the fight. Black Widow actually kills this guy right here. I'm okay with it. I love Cap. It just seemed weird that the people with no superpowers, I guess Cap has superpower, beat these two people right here. And Vision, well, Vision got stabbed, and Vision was pretty much out of commission for this entire movie. He gets stabbed by this guy, and it just fucks him up, and he's not really helpful the rest of the movie. The Hulk, like I said, the Hulk doesn't show up either. But going into this movie, you're like, this is Avengers. They're gonna beat the bad guy. This is an Avengers movie, but this is Thanos' movie. After that, they retreat. Cap, Black Widow, Falcon, I'm blanking again, Vision, Scarlet Witch. They all go back to the Avengers base where Rhodey is, and Ross is there, Secretary Ross, General Ross, whatever you know him as. Excuse me. He's there, and he tells Rhodes to arrest him, but of course he doesn't. So they're trying to find a way to separate the stone from Vision's head to keep Vision alive, but destroy the stone. So they don't really have Bruce gave the idea, but he said he can't do it. He doesn't have the equipment. He's not smart enough in that field. But Cap says, I know a person, and he's talking about Siri, Black Panther's sister. So they're heading to Wakanda, up in space. The Guardians got the distress call from the Asgardian ship. They show up, all the ship's destroyed, people are just floating around, dead bodies everywhere, and they hit Thor. Thor wakes up. It's a pretty funny moment. Drax is, Star-Lord asks who the heck is, how's this dude alive? And basically Drax says, this is no dude, you are a dude, this is a man. I think he said it's like a pirate had sex with an angel. It's pretty funny. And anyway, what happens is Thor, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot go to get Thor a new hammer. And man, the rest of the Guardians, Mantis, Drax, Gamora, and Star-Lord go to nowhere, which is where the Collector is. And when they get there, everything seems fine. It seems like Thanos is there. He's interrogating the Collector. Gamora gets all upset. She runs out. She cuts Thanos' neck and then stabs him through the heart. And you're like, whoa, Jesus Christ. But then you see it was all an illusion. He has the Reality Stone already. So he gained the Power Stone. Real quick, he gained the Power Stone. He had that at the beginning of the movie. It didn't show him, but it said that he decimated Xandar. He got the Tesseract, which is the Space Stone from Loki, and now he has the Reality Stone, which the Collector had. And everything looks fine, but then the Collector disappears, everything disappears, and everything is just destroyed. So it's reality. And Gamora knows where the souls, back it up a bit. Before they go see Thanos, Gamora wants Quill, Star-Lord, to promise that if Thanos gets her, that he will kill her before he takes her away. And of course he doesn't want to, blah blah blah. Drax is pretty funny in this movie. He's got this one scene with him. I'm not going to go into detail about that. It just like I said, go see the movie. But they get there and he has Gamora, and Quill's in front of her, and he pulls the trigger and bubbles just come out, and then his whole gun turns to bubbles, and Thanos says, I like him. And then they just disappear. Now Gamora knows where the Soul Stone is. Thor said before he left with Rocket that nobody knows where the Soul Stone is, and she had a look on her face. And we find out later that she was Thanos gave her the test to find it, but she said she lied and said she never did, but she did find it. After they disappear, what happens after they disappear? This is going to be out of order probably. I'm just like I said, I saw this last night and I slept since then, and it's not really fresh. I'm going to go see it again either this weekend or next week, and we might talk some more about it. But Thor goes to a star. I can't tell you the name. It's way too freaking complicated. But he goes to get a new hammer. And it turns out Peter Dinklage is playing the only dwarf that's left alive. This is an enormous dwarf. It's a giant compared to Thor. Bigger than Thanos, bigger than the Hulk. Probably, yeah, definitely bigger than them, but he's called dwarves. And we turn out that he's actually the one who made the gauntlet for Thanos. He says that if Thanos told him if he built him this, that he would leave the rest of the dwarves alive, but he slaughtered them all, and he encased the dwarf's Peter Dinklage's hands, in metal. So they have to help him make the axe, or, well, now you know, the hammer, which actually turns out to be Stormbreaker, which is actually Beta Ray Bill's hammer in the comics. But they make Stormbreaker, which is one side is a hammer and one side is an axe. And Thor has to hold the door open for the star, and that almost kills him. But when he gets the axe, it heals him. Back in space, by now, Tony and Spider-Man have killed. I gotta just keep going back and forth. Here, let me just open another one real quick. Yeah, Avengers Infinity War, Black. Nope, I don't want V, I want L. Black Order. By then, They've killed, let me get the picture, this guy right here. They shot him out into space where he died. And then they don't know how to control the ship. And Iron Man doesn't want to go back to Earth. He says if Thanos is coming, it's better to fight him somewhere else, not on Earth. Um, so you get all that, and they end up crash landing on Titan, which is Thanos' home world. It's all destroyed and everything, and then uh, from there, we're gonna back it up a bit into the movie. Thanos and Gamora have been talking. They go into a room, and he's torturing Nebula, which is of course Gamora's sister, not stepsister, whatever you want to call her. Um, and he's torturing her. He's pulled her body apart and all the pieces that it has. And he says, "You tell me where the Soul Stone is, or I'll kill her." And he doesn't really care about his children that much. There's only one child of Thanos that he cares about, which we'll get to in a minute. But she tells him where it is, and he says, "Show me." And they use the space stone. They teleport there. Like I said, I couldn't tell you the name of these planets because they're really freaking complicated. But they have to walk up this mountain, and when they get there, there's a dark figure, and he says Thanos, and he says who his parents were, and he says Gamora, daughter of Thanos. He goes, "You know who we are, and it's my burden to know all who come here." And then we see who it is. It's fucking Red Skull. The Red Skull is back. He's in this movie. I'm not joking. This is serious talk here. I got freaking goosebumps when I saw him appear. Like, some people might not have liked it, but I liked him. And you have to think, he hasn't been seen in basically 10 years for us. He hasn't been seen since the end of the Captain America, the first Captain America. He shows up and he's talking. He tells Thanos how to get the Soul Stone is a little different, he says. You have to make a sacrifice to be able to hold it. A soul for a soul. But it's only something that you love. And you see Thanos is crying. And Gamora's confused. She's like, tears, blah, blah, blah. Thanos kills Gamora. So now we've lost 3 people by this time. Thanos has killed Loki, Heimdall, and Gamora. At this point, I'm like, there's no, like, how, they gotta fix this by the end of the movie or something. Doctor Strange used the Time Stone, or I don't know what's gonna happen, but something. But he wakes up in the water with the Soul Stones. Now he has the Soul Stone. They don't really say what the Soul Stone does. Like, you can tell what the other ones do, but I didn't really understand what the Soul one did. From there, Thanos goes. Nebula breaks out of her cell, tells the Guardians to meet her on Titan, and that's where Thanos is going. So when the Guardians show up, they're confused. They think the Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange are working for Thanos, and they fight each other. It's pretty cool. We see Iron Man versus Star-Lord. It kind of ends in a standstill. Like, Star-Lord is pretty ticked off. He's holding Spider-Man to gunpoint, and Iron Man's holding Drax at laser point, repulsor point, whatever you want to call it. But they figure out that they're both against Thanos, and they end up working together. And when Thanos shows up, Doctor Strange says he's looked into the future, and he saw like over 4,000 or 4 million, something like that, and only one possible way that they win. But Thanos, they actually subdue him, and they almost have the gauntlet off. But Quill punches him because Mantis is making him kind of sleep. Not really sleep, but out of it. He can't really focus or do anything, and everyone's holding him down too. But he punches him, and it knocks her hands off, and he wakes up, and he just continues to kick their asses, all of them. It's pretty cool interactions between Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Star-Lord, and all the Guardians. And Spider-Man's great in this movie, like he is in his own movie and in Civil War. Love Tom Holland. But Thanos leaves after he gets... early in the movie, Doctor Strange said he would trade Iron Man and Spider-Man's life to protect the stone, the Time Stone. But he gives the Time Stone up to save Iron Man. But he actually goes in to stab Thanos, and Thanos breaks his armor and stabs Tony with his own armor, which is just holy Jesus. I thought he was gonna die there. Like, that's the death that was gonna get me. I love Iron Man, but he does survive. He uses his suit to heal himself, and they're just kind of sitting there now. Like, did we lose? Nebula shows up too. She crashes a ship into Thanos, and Thanos pulls. He doesn't pull the whole moon down, but he does pull like a part of it down. From there, he has 6 stones now. Is it 6? Yeah, he has 5. He has the Soul Stone. He has the Space Stone, which is the Tesseract. He has the Power Stone, which is the purple one. He has the Aether, which is the red one. So there's 5, right? Aether, red, purple, green. He has the Time Stone too. That's what it is. He got that from Doctor Strange. So he's heading to Earth. During this time, these two are this guy. Remember, this guy was stranded in like the Arctic, and this guy died. Black Widow killed him, and she's there. So her and him are in Wakanda. So Captain America and all of them went to Wakanda as well, and there's just full out war between them all. And the Hulk will not come out. So Bruce is in, like everyone speculated, Bruce Banner is in the Hulkbuster suit. And like I thought when he got knocked over with all those people that the Hulk was going to come out, but he does not want to come out. He's still traumatized with what happened against Thanos. But after that, it's just a full-on war between Thanos' army and Cap and the Wakandans. And it's all a great show. You see Black Panther and Captain America in front of the charge, and they're keeping up with each other. It's pretty funny. It kind of seems like a little competition between the two. Bucky's there, of course. He's got a new arm, but it's just all out war, and they're fighting and fighting. And then Thanos shows up, and he just wrecks all the Avengers. This is the end of the movie here. He wrecks all the Avengers. Scarlet Witch actually destroys the stone. Vision wants her to destroy it, and it kills Vision, and he's talking to her, and then he uses the Time Stone to bring Vision back, and he rips it out of his head, and it kills Vision. She's upset. He puts the Mind Stone in the gauntlet, and like everyone is just, they're trying to beat Thanos. My bad. So after Thor gets his hammer, it heals him, and Stormbreaker has the power to open the Bifrost, so he teleports himself, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot to Earth, and they are just he's slaughtering the army. And then, so Thanos has all of the Infinity Stones, and Thor puts all of his power into a throw of Stormbreaker, and it actually impales Thanos in the chest. And he goes down there, he shoves it in, and he's like, early in the movie, he told him he'd pay, and it's like, I told you would pay for this. And he goes, you should have aimed for the head, and he snaps the Infinity Gauntlet. He snaps with his Infinity Gauntlet. And you see this little scene of young Gamora, and it's like, did you do it? And he goes, yes. And she goes, what was the price? And he says, everything. So it's kind of just sitting there, and the gauntlet looks a little destroyed, but it's still intact, and the stones are still there, I believe. I will confirm that in a video. Like, I'm gonna go watch again, see if the stones. I'm gonna pay more attention to that scene right there, and I'll let you guys know in the next time we talk about this movie. But he sees it. Thanks for telling me that. Virus and threat protection, nice. But it's kind of, you see it. It kind of looks destroyed a bit, and Thor's like, "What did you do?" And then Thanos uses the Space Stone to just teleport somewhere. We see a little bit of where he goes. It's like a tent. I think there was someone there actually, but Thor's just kind of looking around, and then Cap shows up, and then you hear Bucky, and he goes, "Steve," and then you turn around, and Bucky literally turns to ashes. Bucky turns to ashes. Black Panther and all the Wakandans turn to ashes. There's a Falcon turns to ashes. The people that are left are Captain America, Bruce Banner, I believe Black Widow. I think Scarlet Witch dies. I think she turns into ash. I think I say Black Widow. War Machine, he's there, and then you see over on Titan, it cuts to Titan, and Drax turns to ash, and Nebula, no, god dang it, who was with Mantis turns to ash, Star-Lord turns to ash, and then you're thinking, holy crap, they just killed half the Guardians right there. Groot is fine, Thor's fine, Rocket's fine, Iron Man, he's fine, and then you hear Peter Parker, Spider-Man, say, "I don't feel so well," and he turns to ash. Spider-Man turns to ash. Spider-Man. Let's go through. Scarlet Witch is dead. She turned to ash. Vision is dead. Thanos killed him. We don't know about Wong. Doctor Strange, he survives. Iron Man survives. Cap survives. Black Panther turns to ash. Nebula survives. Falcon turns to ash. Bruce Banner survives. The Winter Soldier turns to ash. I think Shuri turned to ash. I'm not sure yet. I don't think it showed her. She turned to ash. I can't remember her name. I think she was there. Turned to ash. Thanos killed her. He's fine. Turned to ash. 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 They've killed majority. And you see, it goes back to Thanos and he smiles, and that's the end of the movie. It ends like that. Go through all the credits and everything, and the after credits scene, you see some mayhem, a helicopter crash into a building, and a car swerve in front of Nick and Maria Hill, Nick Fury, Maria Hill, and then they get out, and they're like, what's going on? And he's telling her to call cleanup. Well, I can't remember what that place is actually called, but she goes, Nick, and you turn around, and Maria's starting to turn to ash, and I think he says shit or something like that. I can't really remember, but he pulls it, and then he looks down at his hand. He's starting to turn to ash, and he pulls out a device and he presses it before he turns to ash fully. But right before he turns to ash, you hear him go "mother," and then he dies from turning to getting erased, which of course is Samuel L. Jackson thing. But the device hits the ground, and you see that it's powering. It says sending, sending, and then you see Captain Marvel's logo on the screen. The interesting thing about this it confirms that she'll be in Avengers 4. Her movie's coming out before Avengers 4, but it was one heck of a ride. That's all I have to talk to you about it, really. I've told you as much as I can remember. Like I said, I'm going to go see it again, and I'll come back, and we'll talk about it a little more. But it was a crazy ride. This is really Thanos' movie, and I think Avengers 4 will be the Avengers movie. So it is a two-parter. Sadly, we have to wait another year before we get to see part 4. Or not part 4, but part 2 of Avengers, which is Avengers 4. And they said that characters in this movie that didn't get time will be featured more in the other one. Ant-Man, Hawkeye, they're not even in this movie, which is kind of sad. I do like Ant-Man and Hawkeye. Also, so they'll be in the Avengers 4, so will Captain Marvel. And I'm thinking they're definitely going to get more screen time. I think that I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think that Spider-Man and Black Panther will definitely be brought back somehow. And I think the Guardians will be. I think they'll beat Thanos somehow, and they'll get the Time Stone back, and maybe rewind time, or maybe the Reality Stone can fix it. I'm not really sure. But that's all I got for the Avengers spoiler talk. So I'm gonna go see it again. If you want another talk video, hit the like button, subscribe to see it, and hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Holy shit, this movie was amazing and terrible at the same freaking time.